various viewpoints, and it helps.
Hard copy is my show. Steve Mckinney is my man.
Steve Socks. People listen. People listen. People listen. Well, a pleasant good afternoon to one and all. It's 17 minutes behind the hour, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We are in the 5 o'clock hour, and this is Hard Copy. Hard Copy is a presentation of the Mckinney Media Group, copyrights 2024, all rights reserved. The views, statements, and opinions of guests expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the hosts, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without the express written consent of the producers and, of course, the Mckinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the Mckinney Broadcasting Radio Network, and Hard Copy, as you know, seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all behaviors and behaviors of the heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country. Our desire is for Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded behaviors just like you to participate with intelligence and honest contributions. After all, my friends, with a country to build, we've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower, and generations of born and unborn Bahamians we, the people, must protect and plan for, including the people of Eleuthera. And if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, we bring you lights to the water storage situation in Eleuthera. I'm told the critical water problems are in both the north and the south of Eleuthera. We will address the COI's version of all the critical situations for residents and businesses there. Call us today at 376-9234 or 821-9234. Those numbers again, 376-9234 or 821-9234. Let's talk about this whole thing. We should also discuss other plans of the COI, what they have for the area of Eleuthera, live at 5 today. Now, let me just make sure you understand what's happening here. We are committed to being fair to all and sundry. Politically, as far as religious is concerned, whatever it is, we are committed to being fair to all and sundry. As we try to save, we must try to save our country. There is no place like the Bahamas. This belongs to us. We have to save this country, friends. There is very little time to waste on being opinionated. Let's get a move on. Let's talk progress. Let's talk development. Let's talk about what we want to have happen in this country for Bahamians. That is the mandate. That is the new mandate, because we've got things to do. Big fish to fry. All in little grunts and stuff like that. Yeah, we can feed them back to the sharks, back to the other fish. We got some real things to deal with because we got a country to save. I wonder if you get what I'm saying. And so today we welcome to the show Lincoln Bain, my good friend and colleague. And yes, we have to go do what we have to do because this is the time to do it now. I'm going to welcome Lincoln Bain today more properly because the fact is that when you're looking at a crucial matter of water shortage in the Bahamas, that shouldn't be. We got too much water. But if you see the stuff what I have gotten as a result of what's been happening to the people in Eleuthera, especially Savannah Sound, my mother's home. My God. The water is being contained, or they tried to contain the water. This is the government water, you know, in a filthy, rusty reservoir. The water is draining out of this reservoir all day long. That's why they got this water problem. The water in that particular tank, my friends, is so rusty, you don't want to look at it. When I saw the pictures, I said, my goodness, live video pictures. You can't afford to look at it. The water is just rusty. The water itself that comes out when you turn on the faucet. I don't know why the people can't. This water, my friends, is so rusty. It's yellow. Come now. We can do better than this. 51 years and we can't do better than this. The PLPs have tried it. The FNMs have tried it. The people still got the problems with the water in Savannah Sound and in Gregory Town. What is happening? We need the water. We need the water. There was a song one time ago, a fellow from Andrews came up with this song some time ago. Very, very popular song on ZNS back in the day. I looked for the copy today in my archives. I don't have it. I know it's there somewhere, but I don't have it. I looked for it today. I wanted to play that for you. It goes, water. We got to have water to drink. This is a Caribbean song. This is a Bahamian song. This is a fellow from Andrews talking about the water. That's when they had problems in Andrews. The people only Eleuthera now need water. The people in, I think it's Snug Corner, Auckland's, who also need water. They got a water problem. And we've got an abundance of water in this territory. Good, pure drinking water. But apparently, the Bahamians don't have access to this water. I don't know why. We're surrounded by water all day. We've got the waterlands all through. We should have water galore. See, they wait for me to come and deal with this. Now, I heard about this water problem for a while, you know. I talked about it, gave them a chance, the government, to get a chance to get it together. But if you see me bring this on to the show today on hard copy, I have to go public. I work for the people. Even if they don't want to work for the people, I work for the people. It's not a non-paying job, but I'm working for the people because they got to have water in Savannah Sound, Eleuthera Sound. All these big fellas around here got all this money, and they can invest in the kind of proper facilities to make sure the people got the government water to drink. And here in Nassau and some of the family islands, the other people from down south, they're toting our water all day long and all night long. And I know what I'm talking about because I live through a street that has the water on the corner. Gibbs Lane in Fort Charlotte. Check it out. It was named after Margaret Gibbs. She ran Gibbs Lane some years ago. She's now. And when she was here, she never used to let them fool around that water. She don't waste the government water. That's what Miss Gibbs used to say. Margaret Gibbs. That's how long I've been around here.
Wow.
This is 60 years ago. You understand me? And she decided that they weren't wasting the water. Now the people are blocking the streets. Hear me, friends. I want to show you something. I want to show you the comparison for them and for us. This is what should really make you angry. These fellas parked their cars on the side of the road to collect the water, put them on the back of the trucks, put them in the cars to carry it from the areas they came to come into Vietnam to get the water. They got good water. They got good drinking water, clean potable water. It's good. I can't blame them. They live in the bush, wherever they live, but they come for the water. But the people on Eleuthera, the native Bahamians, can't get the water. What's wrong with that picture? They can't get no water. And if they get the water, it drip, 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 drippy, drip. They can't wash, they can't cook, they can't do what they have to do. And guess what else? I'm learning now of all kind of high incidences of cancer. That's what I said in the Bahamas. That's why I have to take the lead now and present this whole thing so you can understand what's happening. Cancer is prevalent on the island of Eleuthera. Sounds familiar? Well, they can't get no water. They drinking rusty water. They've been drinking unknowingly for many years. Nobody fixed the water. The people still putting the water in them tanks, and the water is just unbelievable. So we are urgently calling for those in authority to do the right thing. Fix them people water. Stop the show. Fix them people water. Fix the Lutherans water. Fred Mitchell has promised to do what he can. So has the people who are the Ministry of Water and Sewage, Water Works, or Water and Sewage, that's the company name. They want to do what they have to do, but they got all kinds of little wranglings going on with who's supposed to be doing what and that kind of thing. They'll fix the water. The people need the water. Fix it. And get it fixed quickly before I get back to the show and talk to them more about it. Because there's only one way to get things done. You've got to embarrass certain people, to get things done in your own country. Why? Water is a precious thing, and we all need it. I want the water to be fixed. We go through. The young man, Clay Sweetie, was just recently on talking about the crisis of the water, how they got all these water problems in Eleuthera. Huge to deal with. And to think of it, these guys are talking about trying to win an election. The first thing you got to do, you got to fix the water. Did you hear Pinling yesterday? If you didn't have Pinling on this show yesterday, and Pinling called their shots for them yesterday, telling them they got to do certain things. He told them, my friends, if you can't do what you're supposed to do, you need to leave now. Pinling said that at a convention 28 years ago when he was in power. Called them all in and told them a piece of his mind at a convention. I believe that they should take a lesson from Pinling's speech yesterday. We played on this show yesterday. If you didn't get it, you need to get it. So that you can understand the correlation, the kind of conditioning that we now under right now under this particular PLP administration. The people still can't buy food. The people still got pressure at the light place. It was called BEC back in Pinling's day. It's now called BBL back in Brave Davis' day. But they still got plenty of problems. Get the copy of the show. Hear what he had to say. It will enlighten you. But I was saying, you think that these fellas are really serious about trying to win another general election when the people are saying that not this time because we haven't been helped. I don't know what's going to happen. But my friends, it's not too pretty. Hopefully, it'll get better. There's a bright spot, though. Lincoln Bain is there. He represents a third party, this country, that people will continue to keep a look out for and continue to be mindful of because they're saying that they need the help. And you can't blame the people. They need help. So we have Mr. Bain on the show today because we believe that ours is the situation where we must be fair to all and sundry as we try to save this Bahamas. All on deck. That's what we need. We need you to make sure that this country is going to be saved. Okay? Lincoln Bain, how are you, sir?
I am awesome, Steve. How are you doing, man?
All is well.
Awesome.
Well, listen, I know that you were down in Eleuthera, and I know many things that you all discovered down there. We want to thank the COI for being here today to represent and to say what you found out on this island hopping mission that you were on. Because sometimes we don't get the kind of coverage that we need to get because our media is so Nassau-centric and they don't go anywhere much.
Yeah.
And they only talk about what the politicians do. But we need to find out what the people are doing on the ground in these islands because it's important.
Yeah.
What did you find?
Well, I think it's shameful that the media doesn't do more investigative reporting. And we're hoping that they are going to find in their hearts to try to do it because they have a responsibility to the people to do so. And if they don't, then they're not functioning as the fourth arm of government. And we also have persons that we are paying to do what we're doing, and that is the opposition. All of them are being paid. The leader of the opposition gets a budget of around $500,000 a year in order to cover the Bahamian people, to cover his costs of covering the Bahamian people. That includes office and vehicle and all this stuff. But he went to Eleuthera just before us, and he didn't come out, discussing any of these things. The real problem. The media didn't discuss the real problem. I heard you said he has the member of parliament for that area, Clay Sweeting, has a big job ahead of him, but he doesn't. All the problem is a simple tank that they needed to finish.
One tank.
One tank. They could do two if they want to. That'll help even more. But one tank. And it took 3 years. And I know they're going to finish that tank, I guess, at some point in the near future. And then they're going to have a big celebration and a big opening for the tank and do what we call cloud chasing so that we could praise them for doing this tank. 3 years you've been in power. You knew this was a problem before you became government. You should have hit the ground dealing with this. You know how much a tank like that costs? Anywhere between, depending on how you bill it, 500,000 to 1.5 million. That's the big problem. So people are out of water because you wouldn't make it your priority to put one tank, maybe $500,000. One tank. That is shameful. And we continue to go through this as a people, Steve. And we accept it. And there are people who say, oh, you can't complain. You complain about everything. And I'm not complaining. Steve, if I hire a maid to clean up my house and she doesn't make up my bed, and I'm telling her about making up my bed, I'm not complaining.
No.
I'm demanding that she does her job.
Absolutely.
And so we must demand that these politicians do their job. We're tired of excuses. Excuses are tools of incompetence that build upon monuments of nothingness, and those who specialize in using them seldom accomplish anything.
Not at all.
And so
You're right about
one tank. And so that's the big solution. And of course, they should run some piping, but that is disgraceful. And what we discovered, Steve, and we have video of that. I played the video on Sunday on my live. What we discovered is that, well, Clay Sweden has a reverse osmosis system at his house. He lives in North Eleuthera, Russell Island, and we showed the system. His neighbors actually took the video to show why maybe he don't care about the water. And because he doesn't have to drink this water, he doesn't have to brush his teeth in this water or wash his clothes in this water or cook with this.
My Lord.
And so he has a reverse osmosis system at his house, Steve.
He's straight.
Yeah, he's straight. So y'all could suffer for 3 years. Let me remind y'all. I could fix that in year 4, right before election, and then y'all gonna have to praise me, and that's probably what he's thinking. That's probably how the government is thinking. And so in the meantime, the people are suffering, Steve. And this is what the COI fights against. We had to stand up for the Bahamian people. There's some people who say, oh, y'all can't win the election. These two parties are too big and they have all the money, et cetera, et cetera. Our first role is to fight for the Bahamian people. That's what God said us to do. And if we do that, we've won. We've won. And the election is another thing. We'll win that later. But for right now, the mission is we have to expose wherever the Bahamian people are hurting and fight for them.
No question.
When we show up, the government comes running. They get embarrassed when we show up, and then they come and make change.
But I'm thinking that they would have been embarrassed now that you all showed up, and that they would come back and start running down there again to Eleuthera and fix the people water.
What they did was they put out a bunch of statements on social media. If you go to Water and Sewage, it says Bahamas Water and Sewage on Facebook. You'll see where they put out a bunch of statements. They said they were clearing up misinformation about that was on social media, but they didn't say what any of the misinformation was. They actually confirmed what we said. We said that there was, rusty tanks and it was leaking, and they said, okay, they're doing leak mitigation. Leaks happen or whatever. They said
leaks got not happen like that. That's the tank that I saw today.
That doesn't happen.
I mean that is rusty.
I heard that tanks were there from the 30s or 40s. All right, I don't know, but
that cannot be right.
Yeah, that's wrong. They said that they have a lining inside the tank to prevent the water from coming into contact with the rusty metal. That's impossible, because if you had a lining in there, how could it leak? It wouldn't leak. Right, Steve? You saw the video with your own eyes.
Let me tell you something. I know what they're talking about, That lining on the inside of the tank, that is a modern day thing. That just happened. In fact, that happened about 3 months ago when they brought them into the Bahamas. These are tanks for the farm and things. I got one into the farm by irrigation. It has a balloon on the inside.
Yes.
That it cannot corrode that way. But those tanks, what they're talking about now, that just happened.
Yeah.
That ain't happened 40 years ago.
No.
There ain't no such thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And obviously, it cannot be truthful that there's a lining in there, because it wouldn't be leaking if there was a lining.
No.
And so you can see the water gushing out. Yes. And they said there are several leaks on the same tank. Yeah. And so, that's a problem for me.
It's no good.
The next part of it is, Steve, I showed pictures of that rusty water. All right. And that breaks my heart, that people have to live with that. People have to brush their teeth with that. They have to cook with that rusty water. That's all they have. Someone says, dig a well, dig your own well. But that doesn't work, because remember, on the family islands, they build the roads close to the sea, and most family islands. So your water is going to be brackish and difficult to use. All right. So when the government provides water, when it's rusty water, Steve, that's a serious health hazard. All right.
Tell me about it.
No human being should have to live with that. Even boiling it will not take out the rust.
Yeah. Boiling
it could kill some germs, but you won't kill the rust, and that rust is still being ingested in your body. And I think that after Clay Sweden came on TV and said that this has been going on for years, you admitted that. So why haven't you fixed the problem? You know how long it takes to build one of these water tanks? 6 weeks to 3 months. This is 3 years later. And then they're going to bill that and then come and celebrate. The celebration coming. Yeah, big party. They got tents out there.
You can be sure of that.
Yeah, they got big opening. They can spend some money. They can eat wine and champagne, and they could be out there saying PLP all the way. After they made you drink poison water, in my opinion, for 3 years. This is disgraceful that Bahamians keep putting up with failure. You know, I had Fred Mitchell liked to tease us, all right, and politically, we jab at each other. We don't hold it against each other. He liked to tease us and call us idiots, right? That's what he likes to call us. But an idiot is someone who has millions of dollars at their disposal, actually billions of dollars at their disposal,
Yes.
and they can't build one water tank. That should take 6 weeks.
They don't need it.
3 years later.
They don't need it. They mean.
That's evil. You gotta be an idiot if you take 3 years to build a water tank that takes 6 weeks to build. That's an idiot. That's like the idiots who take 50 years to build a hospital and they still ain't gonna build it because they say the hospital that they building that's not really a hospital, that's not gonna be finished in this term. So these are the idiots. All right. The idiot is someone who's going to spend $160 million. First, they said it was $100 million. All right, for the road in Eleuthera.
Right.
Now it's $160 million. So someone can't count. So that's an idiot. And then you're going to build this road to an area that doesn't have water. That doesn't have water piping now. So then you're going to have, and then now you're saying you're negotiating with the government, et cetera, Ministry of Finance, to get the financing to put the pipe in there. So you've already started paving the road. So you're going to pave the road and then dig it up to put the pipes there to go to South Eleuthera.
One day they got to dig it up. You got to dig up the road if you're doing some weight.
That is idiotic, Steve.
But it's you call it right. These are idiots who are doing these things because how can you in fact buy space, put down a road, tar the road, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got no infrastructure in the ground. You got to dig the road up.
Dig it up. And then where there is infrastructure, the infrastructure constantly has leaks. Everyone in Eleuthera knows about this. Constantly has leaks under there because they have these old pipes there, and every so often they burst. There are leaks all over the road, and they can't tell where it is until it bursts out. All right, and then they go and fix it. And so now you're gonna spend $160 million to pave that whole road, and then have to go back and dig it up whenever you have more of these leaks.
Do you think it's about the money factor? Because it seems like they just want to be dealing with big money. I mean, come on, man. If you're saying that this thing could cost far less than what it's going to cost right now by just putting in a tank, a simple tank.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want to spend all this money to do all these other things, and then you still got to dig up the road? What for? What for are you doing that?
Because they feel that people are going to vote for PLP or FNM anyway, so they don't care. They know you're going to vote for them anyway, so they're going to make this money from these contracts. Oh, they let us get away with saying this is going to cost $100 million. Let's put that up to 160. See what they say. Oh, they didn't say nothing. But by the time we finish this is going to be $200 million. Ingram did it. When they did the previous road works, it went from one price and doubled to another price. You understand?
Set the tone.
Yeah. And so this is what they do. They say how you boil a frog, you just increase the temperature slowly. And that's what they've been doing to us. You see? And in everything, that's what they do. They test you. Oh, they accept it. Okay, let's keep doing it. But the tragedy is that you have in the 21st century, you have these people living like they're back 50 years, like Dr. Miles preached about. Mm-hmm. He said you're going to go 50 years forward or 50 years backwards. And now they toting water in Eleuthera. That's 50 years backwards. Now they don't have regular electricity in Eleuthera. That's 50 years backwards. The cable and internet ain't working properly. That's 50 years backwards. Steve, I want to be bold and say this to you. One of the reasons that we are failing as a country is because we have expired leaders.
Yes.
Older people have a lot of wisdom and you should always listen to them. They can tell you how to get there, but they may not be the person that needs to be behind the wheel to get there. There's a time when you are on the court shooting the 3-pointers and slam dunking the ball, but then there's a time that you should be on the bench coaching the team.
That's right.
And that's what we always miss. And
Know your
Dr. Miles
role.
talked
Know
about
your
that
role.
before he died. No one wants to get there and coach the team, and that's where the problem comes in. And so we have elderly gentlemen, and I have no problem with age, but know your role when you reach a certain age.
Yes,
When you as a human, when you get a certain age, man, listen, stop going to the club in your boom boom shorts
Yes, man.
and get mature. All right. Put the childish things aside and become mature and
Yeah,
guide the next generation.
Absolutely.
Right now, we have a prime minister who's going to be 76 at the next election. We have a leader of the opposition who's going to be 62 at the next general election. He can go in the senior citizens line. And the problem is they grew up in a generation where they were counting shillings and pence,
Yes.
pounds and shillings. And so that was a different era. And this is not to offend anyone who's from that era. You set the tone and you build this country for us, but you should build it for us to take it to the next generation. You got to pass the baton.
That's only fair.
And see, this is why they're comfortable with things the way it is. And this is why the old generation doesn't even mind things the way it is. Steve, you know why? Because Brave Davis, when he grew up in the 50s and 60s, you didn't have proper running water. So that's normal. He can accept that. It's no big deal. It's not a rush. You can wait. They didn't have proper electricity. So that's not a big deal. They didn't have cell phones. Yeah, no big deal. Y'all could wait. All right. They didn't have internet and those things. So come on, man. It's no big deal. And so they are comfortable with things the way it was. And this is why the country isn't moving forward. We need a new generation of leaders who are going to take us into the next Bahamas. We need a new generation of leaders with the ideas for this generation. And we're not seeing that in the elderly gentlemen who are running the PLP and the F&M. We need new vision for this country. That doesn't offend anyone else who was born in a colony. No one who was born in the colony called the Bahamas should be running for leader of this country. It's time for Bahamians who were born free to run this country with new ideas. And those who were born in the colony should guide those ones with the wisdom and the know-how. And so that they can, when they make those little rookie mistakes, you can stand there and call them and say, hey, don't do this, don't do that. All right. I have many men in my life who call me all the time, senior men in this country, and they give me advice. If I do something they don't think it should go that way, they'll call me. Well, Bishop Henschel, he's not calling me because he supports or doesn't support. He's calling me because he sees that I'm a leader and he can give me wisdom. And he'll say, Lincoln, don't do this. Don't do it that way. This is a better way to do it. You have Simeon Hall. He would call me. He'd say, listen, Lincoln, this is some good sound wisdom. You, Steve Mckinney, you would say, Lincoln, this is sound wisdom. You should do it this way. This is how it should be. The elder statesmen who have experience should guide the young fellas and let them run with it.
Yeah.
All right. And this is where the problem comes in.
Because we don't have the strength with them either. The point is this: we've got the wisdom. We can pass that wisdom on to people like yourself and others who are out there waiting to get something done. We need to put the support behind the new people of this country so we can really build this nation. Because I can tell you this: nobody wants to see our nation fail. Most importantly, me. Me, myself, and I don't want to see this country fail. I work hard every day to get up every day, to stick on this radio every day, to make sure I can help to guide this country.
Not only do I not want to see this country fail, I do not want to see Philip Brave Davis fail.
Yes.
Because when he fails, we all suffer.
Well, we cannot have that, and the truth is,
I just want you to hear this. I pray for Philip Brave Davis. Like the Bible commands us to pray for our leaders. I've done so publicly. All right? Because I want him to succeed. We don't want bad for the government because we all suffer. But if they are doing bad and doing wrong, we have to stand up and speak truth to power.
There's no question about it. And right now, the truth is, they are doing bad. When I played that program yesterday that I found in my archives, that I knew I had it, I have all the tapes of filming. I just got a whole series of it. The whole thing is that when I played that, I said, this is a good one to play simply because of the historic nature of it. It happened in the convention. It was nearing time for another convention in the PLP in the actual general elections of the country. And I'm saying it was a good thing to play. And when I played it, I looked at this and I said, my goodness, this is actually like it's happening right now. I played it so that the Philip Brave Davis and Company can get the picture of how it was back then, learn from the Pinling era of what happened then, and bring it into their being right now and make sure that they can do some new things to make sure that just like our Pinling was able to tell the civil servants and the permanent secretaries and the undersecretaries and everybody else, if you already know what you're doing, you better stop now because we don't need you in this boat. See, Pinling said that. That should be a motivation for Mr. Davis to say what he has to say right now because the country needs new, fresh blood to make it go. That's the way to make it go. You got to make it go. Now, I would say, a person like Lincoln Bain is a serious situation, a serious person who can, in fact, do some things in this country. But you've got to give people a chance. You've got to understand that not them have the answers only. There are others in this country who have answers as well. And the only way that you can get that done is if you can give people a chance. For instance, share it out. Just don't go and look at your PLP buddies and say, let's let him do that. He don't have the answers. You understand? That other fella from the FNM, he may have the answer. That other fella from the COI, he may have the answer. Put your best foot forward. That's what I'm saying to you. We have to build the country. We got to save the country. And I can tell you, right now, this doesn't look good for this particular administration right now. It doesn't look good. They got too many problems happening. This crime problem happening. There's some investigations happening within the police force. This whole thing with the migration problem happening as far as immigration is concerned. There's just so an abundance of things that's happening right now to the Brave Davis administration that if they look right, if they look left, they see the same thing. Chaos. That's what's happening. I don't know how they can get out of this chaos. I'm hoping too that they can get out of this chaos. But the point is, my friends, it ain't look good. I have to be honest with you. And they may say that, oh man, that ain't look so that Steve must. No, understand what I'm saying. I have no axe to grind. I could care less who's in charge. I want this to happen though. Whoever's in charge must be running this country like it's ours. That's what I'm talking about.
And the people have a duty. The people have a duty to make sure that they keep the government's foot to the fire.
Absolutely.
Even if we become the government, we expect people to have the freedom of speech to challenge us because the government are not know-it-alls. You're going to get some things wrong. And when people identify it or you identify a better way, you have to be able to pivot and get that done because the good ideas could come from the regular people. And Steve, the solution to this thing in Eleuthera, which is the same problem they're having in Long Island, same problem they're having in Auckland, etc., the solution is what we've been proposing. And I'm going to say this every time I speak to the public. Island states and city government solves all of our problems.
Yes.
Right? This is not about the big stuff we talk about. People say, oh, they're talking about $100,000. They're talking about natural resources, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, put that on side. Island states and city government. It is how civilized countries around the world works. In the Bahamas, we keep it the way it is because the politicians want to keep control. Island states means that the money made on an island stays on an island. We believe that the power of America is that it is 50 countries in one. They call them states, but they're actually countries. Each one of them is a commonwealth. All right. But there are 50 countries united in one. And we believe that all of our islands could compete with other countries of their size. We believe that Andros, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, etc., can have an economy the same size or bigger than Barbados, Bermuda, Cayman. These are countries. But we believe that our islands, our major islands, can compete with them in terms of revenue. The problem is everything is focused on Nassau because we only do what the politicians can make money from, them and their benefactors. And so that's all they're interested in. So they never focus on the family island. And that's the
Been
problem.
undeveloped for all these
Yes.
years.
And so the monies that are leaving, the millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars that are leaving our family islands to come to Nassau that never goes back, that's going to stay in the family islands so that they can build their family islands. I always give the example of Harbor Island, which sends $30 million a year. That little small little island sends $30 million a year to Nassau and gets back $380,000. That's a crime. They get robbed every year. And there's nothing they can do. They get stick up every year. It should be the opposite. And so now your money stays there. Then you have city government, which means that you have a city council and a mayor. The city council has its own budget and they determine what happens in their community. And the mayor has to get it done, not the politician, not the MP, the mayor. And if the mayor doesn't do his job, guess what? He's fired. Not 5 years from now. He's fired now. So you have someone with accountability. And so now the people are going to do what needs to happen in their community. So you think if North Eleuthera could control their own budget, that they wouldn't take, excuse me, they wouldn't take $500,000 to build that water tank, or even if it was $10 million. Don't you think that that would have been a priority for them? The reason, see, no one is going to take care of you better than you. And I want this to resonate all over this country, all over the family islands. You're neglected because you don't have the basic system of civilization where you control your own interests. And so the schools will be finished on time. Why? Because your children got to go there. You're going to make sure, as a city council member, that gets done on time. The roads are going to be fixed because your car has to drive on those roads. No one is going to take care of you better than you. Stop praising politicians, stop worshiping them. I see we want to praise them because they do their job. We're paying these guys six figures in salaries and benefits. And you want to praise them for doing their job? That's ridiculous. And then they don't do the job properly. And then they come years later and do something. And they say, at least you do something. I mean, come on, man. And so we are going to transform this. All of the countries around the world have the same system. America, Canada, England, even the communist countries, Cuba, Russia, China, has the same system in place. It's city government. The people and their council determine what happens in their community. And this is, this is the only way we're going to see progress in our community. Right now, you go worship the politician. He comes with crumbs every election. That's the money that they done thief from us for the last 5 years. They come and give you a small piece of it so that you could vote for them. Then after election, they disappear because they didn't pay you. They didn't give you $50 or $200 or bought you a stove. They don't have to do nothing for you. All right. And so that's what they do, disappear. But with the new system of city government, the politician is going to have to run you down to get stuff done. So Eleuthera would not have this problem. All right. This is the solution. It's simple and easy. Take the power away from the politician. People say we want power. We don't want power. We want to take the power from the politicians and give it to the people. That's what our fight is. Now, if you want to keep worshiping politicians and doing what they say and hoping they come around with a little $50 and $100, then you keep voting for them and get nothing done. But we're going to change our game.
We're talking with Lincoln Maine today, right here live on the show. We're talking about this water problem over in Savannah Sound, Eleuthera, and all the necessary islands. 376-9234, 821-9234. Those are numbers you can call us by today. Let's cash in and have a say. This is your country, and we mean business. Hard Copy rolls along at 6 o'clock. We roll along right after these words and come back in a minute.
We're going to commercial break, so you won't be able to hear us.
channel. I love the station. You guys are doing pretty good. Keep it up.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We're talking Eleuthera. We're talking some Gregory Town in Eleuthera. And yes, the people down there got water problems. And you can call me on the telephone lines, my friends. You can call me right now and register. I'll put in your register your complaints today because if you month may get an idea that you do feel it. But if you sit back and relax and say, well, you ain't got time for it, so that's up to you. But we are going to still look out for the Bahamian people because that is what we do. Our mission to make sure that things are going to happen in your best interest. And so today on the show, we've got with us Lincoln Bain, who's on the show today. And he is just back from a trip over in Eleuthera and around the family violence. And we're going to ask him some very serious questions in a minute about some things that he sees that may need to have real improvement, like the fire engines and the fire trucks and all those kinds of things. Even in Abaco, they have problems we have in this country. And the people don't get the kind of assistance they need from central government on these family violence. We've got to bring the family violence along. That's what's going to happen. And that is what perhaps he's planning if, in fact, he gains power in this particular country. What's in your best interests? It's up to you. We're talking right here today on Hard Copy. And so, Lincoln Bain, we welcome you back, sir.
Thank you, man. What's the calling number?
376-9234. 376-9234 or 821-9234. And those persons in Eleuthera should, in fact, call me and say, it's me now. We got water problems, yes. And we want them to be solved. You get to say where you're from, that kind of thing. People need to know. If you be quiet, my friends, they don't check for you. That's what it means. All right? So all day, because we know who are the issues. Some people cannot talk for themselves, and they need someone to talk for them.
Steve, that's
that kind of
John, all right, in South. They also have a water problem. There's no water running down there in South Eleuthera in that part. And but they have a water system that's set up for them. And when we went and checked it out, I mean, we were almost in. The people in the community were crying out to us. And when we about the situation, and when we went there, we saw a tank that was horrible, and we saw a storage. I mean, it was full of moss or algae or whatever that is, and that water is going to people. The woman is showing us that she has a young baby, and the water is coming out rusty and smelly. When we went there, we saw dead animals in the storage. It was horrendous to witness that, dead frogs and all this kind of stuff. So if the frog died in there, the water must be really bad. The frog can swim in anything.
yes.
And so dead frogs were in there, and that water from the dead decaying animals is going to people's houses along with the moss and algae and everything else. Come on, man. Come on.
Let's get a comment from this gentleman who's on the telephone lines. Good afternoon, caller. How are you? It is I. This must be Prophet.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it goes there. What's going on, my needle?
I am awesome, man. How you doing?
Everything good, man. You know what I love about the COI? I love the idea, like when Lincoln say island states and city government. That's the game changer, man. You know what it is for these islands to be in charge of their own affair, their own development. When investors come in the country, they want to go to Nassau. They could just go to those islands, sit up at the bed, and everybody around the table or whatever investment they want to bring to the island and just send the ass or they little revenue what they supposed to get. I love that. That's the most important thing I love about the COI, not to benefit from the natural resources, none of that island state city government. That's a game changer, man. Another man we can be carrying on like the state in America. Say when you want to do business and when you want to do business in Florida, you don't go to see the president. You go to Florida and you do business.
That's what you do.
That's a game changer, man. You understand? But see, if the government was real, like the prime minister, he could say, all right, some COI link in there. You all look like you're all addicted to doing something with this natural resources, right? I'll tell you what y'all can do. You can wake with your all them sore points and thing in this country would need to wake up. All right, Lincoln, me and you and your team deal with that. You understand? Go and find some sales for this Aragon. Go straight for the people that benefit off it. So everybody can be involved. But see, when they get in power, they only take it but them they find they love us and they cronies, man. You see, they level in the playing field. And then you see them and how people around here, like doing commercials, but this and
Just call me on the other phone, please.
I must do the commercial and say, I get a grand loan. People who I know is well known COIs. People who's well known F&M's jumping up and saying, yeah, man, I get a grand loan of this and that. The government working with everybody. You understand? But right now, people don't really say that. Everything in this country is political, man.
Yeah.
Political. Now, as far as the youth are concerned, with this water condition, many youth people listen to them, man. These people pulling the wool over you, man. $156 million they talk about put on a road and a brand new water plant in involved with that. Man, a water plant when I see Lincoln show the other day, right? Man, if let's say $100,000 for one of them big tank up there, right? So they got 4 tanks there, one barely working, and then they building a new one. Man, for $1 million now, you could get a 7 tank, put it in a yard, concrete slab, the whole yard, make it look like a real water plant, and then buy at least 2 to 3 osmosis plant to go along with it. So if one break down, you got the other 2 right there waiting.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan to me.
Man, listen, all the money they spend it on the road, and they ain't got no brand new water plant and all for that, and pipes running through the whole country. Something here right in the yard, not man. So for all those miles of road, it's like you're paying $1 million something for a mile of road. You can't even, ain't no way in the world that's possible. Ain't no way in the world that's possible.
Oh boy.
Once I get the chance, let me say this before I go. I'll go with this. The Prime Minister say $18 million to build the airport in Cal Island, right? So here we are. If you go down to Grand Bahama and you look at Western Air Building and Bahamas Air Building, those buildings probably cost what $2 million to build. The buildings, the iron buildings, those are overkill for Cal Island.
Hello.
But you're trying to tell us, and guess what? Even if you pave the runway, a runway for international flights and big plane the land is 8,000 feet long. Are you trying to tell me, so let's say $2 million you could spend on the runway, lights and everything. The other $2 million, $3 million on the terminal. So where the rest of the money going? Where the rest? We have $12 million going. But these brothers overcharging us, man. It ain't hard to see these brothers playing games with us,
Yeah.
And they get their money through contracts, Just do the maths on these projects they doing in this country. They overcharge us by millions, man.
Appreciate the call.
That's my 5 cents I get to say, man.
Appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
But you notice what is so strange about what he said about Cat Island Airport? The opposition is saying nothing about it.
Why?
The F&M and the PLP are in it together. They're working together to screw the Bahamian people. They are working together.
So we gotta A double whammy here.
Like I said, Pintard went to Eleuthera before us. And so he said he went to the people. He went door to door. He went to find out. He came to find out what the problem is. But he never spoke of what we
I
spoke
mean,
about.
not even in the House of Assembly, he didn't speak.
No.
Yeah.
And so we went to
I don't
see.
remember him saying it.
No, he did. He didn't. He went there, saw the problem, and said nothing. You know why? They're working together. They're working together. All right. And they've
You
been
read
working
that
together
they're
to screw
working
up.
together.
Yeah. You know, Jack's Bay, Cotton Bay, that's F&M and PLP.
Yes.
All right.
The
Walk
homes,
Homes.
the homes.
Walk Homes, that's F&M and PLP. All right. Focal, that's F&M and PLP. They're working together. Only so far you can go. And so that's the problem.
Yes, hard copy. One second. Hard copy, 1 second, please. Yes, sir. Are you there? No, not you. I on the next phone. Go ahead, sir. Wait. Turn it up.
Call you live. Go ahead.
Steve, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to hear what you and Lincoln have to say about why is it that Clay Sweden, having his own supply system, being the representative, sat there. I gotta believe that he's a serious person. He was able to run for office and was elected. How is it that he sat there and allowed the situation to deteriorate as badly as it did? I just don't understand how even someone drooling at the mouth would have been aware of the deteriorating water holding tank situation from day one. Even he is the representative. I'm sure he was aware of this. How is it that he sat there and allowed the situation to deteriorate as badly as it did? Please help me understand that.
Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. 1 second.
I will help you understand it. It's very easy. In cabinet, it's called collective responsibility. And so everyone has one vote, including the prime minister, although he has influence. And so when you get in there, they have these people that they always present these qualified people before you and say, vote for us because look at this one. Look at Wayne Monroe. He's going to deal with crime. He's a good lawyer. Look at this other person. And they show you their qualifications. And then every time they get in, you wonder like where all your qualifications went. It's like you all are just a bunch of bumbling idiots. Every election cycle, that's what we experience. But it's because when you have a few people in Nassau determining what happens in every country, that's where every island, that's where the problem happens. And they can only do what they're told. All right. And that's where the problem comes in. And they only do what they can make money from. All right. Sorry to say it, but that's the way it is. If them and their benefactors can't make money from it and it's not a way for them to suck money from the treasury, then they're not going to do it. Right. And that's why we are not really developed in this country. I've gone around recently with foreign investors, with millionaires, billionaires, and they look at this country and they're like, this is like a blank canvas. It's like over 50 years, y'all haven't really done anything. There's so much that could be done here. And some of them are watching right now live as we talk. I saw one of them commenting. And they're like, how is it that nothing is happening? They've done their own research and they realize that. And they told me, they said, your problem is that the same persons who run the political parties own all the companies that benefit, and they only do what they can benefit from. And that's where the problem comes in. But when we change it, it's going to move the decision making from the cabinet and every island. If a foreign investor comes to the Bahamas, he will not have to go to Nassau or meet any MP or prime minister for anything. We're taking the politics out. You go to the family island and they will have the boards for your licensing or whatever it is you need to do and be approved, just like it is in the United States of America, Canada, Russia, China, anywhere. When I can go today, right now, I can go tomorrow, sorry, and by in the morning I can apply to have a company incorporated. I can have my license, my bank account, everything in the same day. I can walk out with my bank account, and I could go into business and operate. I could apply for my incorporation this morning and have that in an hour. All right, and that's the problem.
So, caller, you understand what Mr. Main is saying, eh?
I do understand. I just hope that the people, at least the independent voters, who I believe make up 65 to 70% of the voting electorate,
Yes.
I hope they understand, because that's that. If you understand that, then you understand that we shouldn't expect any different out of either the PLP or the FNM.
Understood. I thank you for your call, friend.
Thank you so much for taking my call. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My goodness. It's a serious time.
The problem is pure corruption.
I got another call here on the telephone lines. Good afternoon, caller. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Steve. I am great. I am great. I am great. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to Mr. Ben.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Ben, I want to express appreciation to you for showing up in Eleuthera.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And I appreciate you fighting for the Lutherans.
Listen, but Steve, Mr. Ben is something that most politicians are not doing today.
Yes.
He didn't just visit Eleuthera for a couple hours and see what was happening and then think about his business. He actually came, he sat on the ground and experienced the hurt of the people, what they are going through, what they are enduring. And so he is able to speak from the heart with respect to what is actually transpiring here. Oleander has been out of water for 6 days. Palmetto Point was out of water for 3 weeks at one point.
Wow.
2 weeks at one point, and then they're out of water now. In Rocktown, you have persons who are suffering.
The whole place is like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have it all over. In Rocktown, you have residences who they can't get water to their homes. And what is troubling in one particular case, the young lady came to me again today complaining. She said, "Mama, who you talking to?" Well, I know I'm talking to Mr. Dean about it. She's responding to questions that water in church, and they stop responding to her issue.
My Lord.
This is how bad it has gotten for people who are used to having water and took it for granted that they support out the business, which they're entitled to have, but you can't take it for granted anymore. You understand what I'm saying to you? Not only, but Mr. Bain did a video recently talking about the damn fee is some big secret. So when somebody is comfortable where they have everything and they don't have to worry about nothing, they cannot feel your fees. And let they come into your neighborhood and experience it. And that is why they can speak you comfortably about what is going on in Luther. And every word that he says is what these people are enjoying is the absolute one. Because I'm here experiencing it. I'm here talking on TMI about it. And of course, that is where we have the connection in trying to address the issues that are affecting the people on our island. And it is really, really difficult. And the water is just one issue. When the electricity goes off, the water goes with it. And the electricity is good. We have not had one single week in the last 3 months where we have had electricity for an entire week. We're not about it. Not 1 week.
So these are the BPL people who are supposed to be dealing with this?
Yes, sir. The BPL people, the BPL was worse for that. They were doing conducting disconnections. So they would be at my fact. They were conducting disconnections.
They was cutting you all off while they were already off.
People were already off. Listen. People went to the BPL office to pay their bills and could not pay their bills because the electricity was off. And that BPL still had the guts and the balls to send people to their residents to disconnect.
Yep.
And by the time that they sent people to disconnect them, the bill was off. The electricity was off, and the person still had to go and find somebody to pay that bill. That's how bad it is. The people in Eleuthera are suffering, particularly in South Eleuthera, as it relates to the basic services that they're supposed to have. And it's a disgrace and it's a disappointment. What Mr. Main has done with his bias press coming here has brought even more attention to it and brought a voice to it. You know, they had a similar situation with the immigration problem in Iran, and he spoke about it there. And of course, some things started out, and now he's come to try to bring attention to this issue. We need attention because people are suffering
People are hurting. People are going through. And I don't want anybody to think this is a joke. So, a young lady spoke to me this morning, and she said to me, "Marvin, my daughter is visiting. She told me she has to leave. She said, because mommy, this is like jail. This has to be jail. I cannot even use the restroom. I can't be able to say, mommy, this is jail. I have to go." And she cried because the reality, she wanted her child to be here for a couple of days, but she understands the frustration. And it's like, she's visiting from wherever she's visiting from, but it's like she's going like 51 years backward.
Oh, Lord.
You understand? And that's a painful thing to happen, you know, to see people doing.
What? Let me ask you something now. What is the politicians been saying to you all, particularly those persons who are in charge of your area? I mean, seriously. I mean, what have they been saying to you? They brought some comfort to you. What are they doing? How do you rectify this matter?
Let me right here when please act out on notice. That's a great reading as I am, and I will not him. I know he's trying. I know he's trying, but not hard enough. He came down here the other day, and they were putting down some pipes. He came right here up to the door. He knows that the pipes went down. Guess what happened, Steve? They put down the pipes, but the pipes still got the old tanks that are serving, that are pouring out the water.
Yes.
Literally, I'm looking at a photo in my phone right now of Harbor Island. The people say, well, the water coming out brown, but I mean, thank God we have water. That's the state that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the state that they're in. And he, Mr. Bain, went up and down this island so he can tell you. This is no talk. This is no air talk. This is not some exaggerating. This is actually what the people are.
Let me ask you this question, man. I mean, this concerns me, man. This really concerns me. I've got to go and see what I can get done. Now, listen here. You're talking about people now who are plagued with things like cancer and things like that. I mean, what's happening? What's really happening down there in Eleuthera, man? Talk to me.
It's frightening. It's frightening. Let me tell you, know people cancer. COVID is back. COVID is rampant in Eleuthera. And one of the most critical things that you can use to fight COVID is have water available.
Yes.
People can't fight COVID because there's no water. People can't wash their clothes because there's no water. I have workers who are complaining and saying, Marvin, I had to struggle. I made to come to this water. I have to do a wipe down with the drinkers and I got to get on the down. But literally, one or two types of water sewage group. Literally, you can see persons who send videos to show that, okay, I just need to prove you all no water coming out of my dam. And it's not just affecting anybody.
Wow.
It's affecting everybody. The elite, the tourists, everybody's being affected. The tourists were here buying gallon water to bathe with and flush the bathroom.
Yes. Yes.
We haven't gone that far. Come now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gone.
You know what's also sad? Is that you have billionaires and very important people who come to that island. Not that they're no more important than Bahamians, but you have Tyler Perry on that island. You have Lenny Kravitz that's on that island. You have a lot of wealthy people, even local millionaires on that island. The whole of West Coast has a house right there on that island. Craig Simonet, Brent Simonet's brother, has a house right there on that island. You have a lot of prominent people who are there. You have Orville Turnquest, Tommy Turnquest. I mean, you have Franklin Wilson, etc., and all of their partners. All of them are there, and it's like they just accept this. It's just accepted. The failure.
It's when I tell you it's this, but when you have, let me tell you about the car. And on that point, there's a business person who has their restaurant struggling. This water crisis creates an issue with them, but their restaurant. Because if you don't have water, you can have your restaurant open. They were still struggling to start their family's bread and butter. They survive from their restaurant. They were in such a state with no water, but they still tried to be open with too much water in. Environmental health came and closed their restaurant down.
Your people down there, y'all got a crisis down there. This is an urgent thing. This is a crisis.
Thank you very much. This is a serious thing. You have businesses that are losing businesses, that are losing money, that are losing capital, that are losing customers because they don't have the means to cater to them. If the electricity isn't off, the water is off. And usually once the electricity is gone, the water's gone. And then sometimes one goes or the other goes. But once you see the electricity goes, the water goes with it. It is a disaster. It is chaotic. We are in a state of
Man, that makes me mad as hell.
you know what I'm saying here? I feel for the business persons who have this as their bread and butter. If they don't have no generator, some of them, it ain't like everybody can afford generator in this crisis with the way things are going on. I'm saying to you, BPL office, where people have to go to pay their light bill was off. And because even though the people couldn't pay their light bill, they still was there. While there was an interruption of service, the electricity was off when they showed up at it over ladies' house to cut off to tell them you up for this connection. And she said, I have the money right here. She said, I have the money right here. Can I pay it to you? They said, no, you have to go to the office. She went to the office. The office was still open, couldn't take her money. She had to go and drive all the way to Governor's office. Several miles away from her home.
Wow.
Oh,
These are real things that are happening right here on Eleuthera right now. And see it, I teach people, but by them saying, okay, say, oh, if there's just gas like this, it's just doing it for EMI. Lincoln Bay came down here. He didn't stay here for a couple of hours and live good. He came and he went to every neighborhood. You have talked with John Miller. They called Mr. Bain and tell him, for God's sake, come to John Miller. And he asked me where it is, and he gone down there. And then people are still thankful that he came and saw and heard their cry. People suffer, and they don't have political leaders who are empathizing with them.
Yeah.
they need political leaders who can lead. That's what we need. Anyway, listen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this up again on this whole matter and just make sure that people know what's happening here in Nassau at Peace 107.5 at 5 o'clock on hard copy. Spread the word. We're going to spread the word because we're going to have to inundate them with all the facts, not fiction, all the facts, and make sure they do something immediately about this problem.
They have to do something. They have to do something because it's just too much. It is too much.
I promise you I'll do my part.
The businessman that they see, but before you go, I go on to wash my clothes on Sunday. I went Sunday to go to washers to wash my clothes. I said to the gentleman, I said, how many washers you and dryers you need? I said, I need 3 washers, 2 dryers. He said, not a problem. I said, how long is my rate? He said, 25 minutes. I was sitting there. I said, okay, I don't know. I can stay right here. Sat there for 15 minutes. He came to the door. He said, son, I can't help you. He said, the electricity gone off. So,
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
mercy. I don't mean to laugh. Land of the free.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you for bringing your voice and your presence to the summer. We need more of your voice. Listen. We need more of you and more like you to come and try to help the fight for people here in the service. We're going through too much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for your call.
All right, God bless.
For persons watching online, you can see the water. We collected some water in a gallon jug, and you can see how brown and rusty the water is. Someone said it looks like apple juice. So we took a regular bottle of water and put it next to the bottle of water that is coming out of the tap, out of the sink, and you can see how brown and disgusting it is. For the persons in John Miller's, please boil your water. We saw dead animals in the reservoir and moss and algae, etc. Boil that water. All right. We know it's coming out smelly, and do not cook with that. Do not brush your teeth with that. Do not drink that. Boil it first. To the other people in other areas, your water is coming out rusty. Boiling will not kill rust. I mean, rust isn't something that you can kill. Boiling will not prevent rust or help you with the rust. It'll take you out the germs, but it's still rusty water that you should not be ingesting. And so we're calling on the government. This is a crisis. This is a crisis. People are suffering. People are hurting. It's damaging people's lives. We are calling on the government to fix this now, not a month from now. Do your construction 24 hours a day.
Yes.
All right. Go into 24-hour construction and fix the water problem now.
Thank you so much. Listen, I've got so many people calling me right now from this whole. This is just heartrending. I cannot believe that this thing is actually happening. Not to the good people after 51 years. And what are we dealing with? I don't understand it. Listen, I've got another call. Sir, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steve.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Good afternoon, Lincoln, and good afternoon, Bahamas. Okay, Steve, my heart goes out to those people in Eleuthera, man. If they've been dealing with this problem for some years, you know how much people already perhaps died from drinking or using that bunch of dirty water, rusty water in that system?
Oh boy.
And here it is. The election fever is on, and I don't tolerate nonsense and foolishness. All these years, for 4 years now, these people were nowhere in sight to be seen.
Yeah.
And now they hear all about begging for vote. I tell them, okay, I don't have nothing to say to y'all. Y'all need to get away and go try to get some work done in this country.
Boy.
Can't do nothing in this country.
We got a lot of problems. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're campaigning now. They're subtly campaigning. And they're counting down the days now.
That whole island voted for the PLP.
The whole island.
2 MPs are from the Progressive Rural Party. You know what's worse? One was put in charge of water and sewage, Sylvanus Petty, and one was put in charge of the Ministry of Works, which is the Ministry of Water and Sewage is under. And this is happening to them. And you know what's worse than that? This is not even about the politics and election part of it. You know what's worse than that? We paying for this, man. You be paying for you to give us rusty water. All right, we have consumer protection that if someone sells you something and it is faulty, they have to fix the problem. All right, they owe you. All right, they can be punished. How could the government be selling us rusty water? If you go to a restaurant and you get your food and rust is in it or dirt is in it, wouldn't they be expected to be dealt with?
Absolutely.
How could the government be giving people rusty water and that's okay? You're going to tell us, they told us it's going to take another month before they finalize that, have their big celebrations with tents and caviar and all this stuff they're going to set up and praise themselves. It's going to take another month while people are going to be suffering in this way. No, that is not acceptable. We're paying for this.
My Lord. Anyway, caller, I appreciate what you're saying. Go ahead. You finishing up? Go ahead.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, Steve. And here it is now. The time is come that the Bahamian people already proven the FNM and they have proven the PLP to be a bunch of don't care dogs in this country. That's what I call them. I don't have no other name to call them. And that's a good name. But they owe the Bahamian people an apology for how they treated the Bahamian people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They need to come to the Bahamian people and apologize, but I don't even want to hear an apology. I want to see the country.
You want to see action.
And the Bahamian people eating and sleeping good in their own homes. And that should be their priority right now is to vote these PLPs and FNMs out of Parliament and put a government that have a love for the people and a love for this beautiful country that we're in. And if we don't do it this time, we will lose. We will end up losing this country by immigrants.
What a time.
And I'm serious about that.
What a task we've got.
I'm Lincoln and Steve, man. Y'all continue to carry on with the show, and thanks for taking my call, Steve.
Thank you. Very kindly. No problems. Oh, boy. You know, We've got 14 missed calls. There's so many calls are coming in. I keep telling you, please use the other phone as well. 821-9234. You're overloading this particular phone here, but 821-9234. I got to call on that, but you can call me on that as well, so that you can get your calls through. And the people of Eleuthera, we really feel that for you. We didn't even know it was this bad. When they talk about it in terms of what's happening with the water thing, we get the emphasis just placed on they got a water problem. That's it. We don't go beyond that. But the media and the press must do more investigations.
Steve,
I remember one time ago,
go
we
ahead.
used to send people out to these kinds of things. When there was people in the newsroom with myself, Peter Damianis, Braxton Thurston, Anthony Forbes, these people went out and they went out of their way to make sure that the people were being serviced in this country. Hold on for me, please. The people were being serviced in this country. And they went all over this place making sure that people got the proper service they need. The media did their job. We don't have a media who goes anywhere anymore to talk with anybody about anything. We
Steve,
got to do better than this, man.
Steve.
We've got to do better because we're losing this country.
Yes. The Guardian did a story after we went there. Instead of covering what the problem was, they tried to attack us for going on to the plant to expose what's going on. Their whole thing was about attacking us. They even went to the point of saying that we did the live with a no trespassing sign right behind us. That there's a no trespassing sign right behind us. Let me tell you something. I will go anywhere in our country where the Bahamian people are being abused and hurt. Don't tell me with no trespassing sign. All right? Because I'm a Bahamian and we own that. So Bahamians are being hurt, hospitalized, getting unhealthy water, babies are being forced to be bathed in this water. People are brushing their teeth in this water and have to cook in this water. And your focus is on a no trespassing sign?
My Lord. What shamefulness. Hard copy, how you doing? No, not you. I can get to you in a minute. Hard copy, sir. How are you?
Good day, Mr. McKinney.
There you go. I'm listening.
Good day, Mr. Bean.
Good day.
Rylan,
Yes.
I'm listening. Go ahead, please.
Concerning in concerns with the water and the power situation, like I sent Mr. Bean a message a few minutes ago. The power and the water was off from 1 o'clock last night until 3:45 this afternoon.
Wow.
And the power went off after 10 o'clock. And they came back on at 10 after 3.
My Lord.
This is ongoing occurrence here on the island. And like Mr. Blaine said, with the water is 3 shades of brown.
Wow.
3 shades of brown, honestly. You can't basically do nothing with the water until it clears up. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 days before it even gets clear. Before the power goes off and it repeats the same cycle.
So you all got a water problem. You got an electrical problem. What else is breaking down in Eleuthera and breaking down in Bryland and those places? What else is going on?
So much. But the main concern is with power. Because once the power goes off, the water goes off automatically.
Wow.
When it comes to the work being done here on the island with the water out of the line, I feel like it's government thing with who's in charge, because one section of the island will be on, the other section will be off for hours. And who down on the next end where the white people are there, just because all the white people are generators, so the people in this area and that area will suffer for the next end of the island. They do load shedding on the island constant. This island is one of the top sufficient islands in the whole Bahamas, and then you will see you can have consistent power and consistent water, on our barrier. Right. That's my only concern.
Listen, you have a good concern. I like what your concerns are, and I'm hoping that we're going to get you some help, additional help, because this is an urgent thing. Tomorrow morning's news will be that they need help in Eleuthera, and all residents of Eleuthera and everybody else who is affiliated with Eleuthera should now put their focus full steam ahead on what's going to happen in Eleuthera. Just like how they needed help in Abaco, they need help in Anderson. We got to get things together now, friends. The time is limited. We got to get things together. Let's be real now. Let's get it together, because something ain't right. Okay? We don't like what they're cooking in that pot. Something ain't right. Let me just take it on the call here this afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Steve. How you doing?
All is well.
Awesome. Good day, Mr. Dan.
Good day.
All right. So first off, I want to say, the government isn't being transparent about what's taking place in Eleuthera, and not only Eleuthera. I've been getting calls from first I know in Berlin, which is, they say water problems down there too. And water issues is also inside of Pinless Point at Grand Bahama. I don't know if you remember, in February of this year, Maria Dawson was down there. And she just took their mind her own business when the residents came to and was telling them about the issues they was having there about the water there as well. Just in the newspaper, just recently, as I think it was either this morning or yesterday, the people in this point still talking about the foul odor in the water down there. And if you know about Pinder's Point, many persons have died from cancer down at Pinder's Point. Now you have the same issue happening in Eleuthera. So is it possible that the unkept conditions of these water tanks with the rust and all of this, some people are cooking with this water. Some persons are drinking this water. And could it be that it could cause other health problems that we are seeing uptick in our country? It could be possibly cancer and other things. It's just unbelievable when you look at the amount of rust that you would allow for water to be held in, to be sent to persons' homes with children and kids. Some people have newborns. All right. Now, for you to see rust in water, that means the fire permitted have to be a certain size. But that doesn't mean that if you're getting water to your house, rust still isn't it. Not everything is visible to the naked eye. So this could be this is a catastrophe, right?
Catastrophe.
Yes, it's a catastrophe, Steve, because
I agree with you. I agree with you, my brother. I agree with you.
You could be using this water. It may appear to look clear, but only under a microscope you really can see what's in the water. So I want to give my hats off to the Coalition of Independence, because the media is not covering this. The media hasn't showed nothing but the rusty tanks there, pampering this guy down there who talking about that. He doing this place speaking got his own osmosis plant on this property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the life of me, this is unacceptable on so many levels. And this isn't something that just started happening. It's just that it has gotten worse while they fly all over the place, having caviar, best wines, and you name it. Okay, travel budget went up by millions. And you telling me you can't have proper water system for the people of Farm the Island? They only use the people on the Farm the Island, in my opinion, for political gain. There's no interest for the people on the Farm the Islands. They only pamper them when it's election time. After that, they leave them. They do not want to develop those places. In my opinion, they don't want them on those places. Okay? So they probably have another island to sell.
Who are we? What kind of people are we? My friend, thank you for your call. I appreciate what you've said. All of it. Thank you so much.
I don't blame the politician. I blame us. After one or two election cycles where this happened to us, I would say, okay, it's a politician. But after all these election cycles where You know, the same thing happens every time, and we keep voting for these people. It's our fault. It's going to get to the point where if you vote for them again this upcoming election, you can't complain. You know what is coming. You know what they're going to do. You know what's going to happen if you put Brave Davison back. You know what's going to happen if you put them back after all the mistreatment that has happened to you. You know. And so you can't keep blaming the politicians. You have to blame yourselves.
You have to.
And so at some point, we have to take responsibility to not put a political party over your children. Your children now have to suffer with no good water, with no proper electricity, with no proper internet service. Do not put a political party over yourselves. It's time for us to stand up, and that's no political party, not even ours. It's time for Bahamians to decide that we have had enough. And we got to do something for our future generation. We are getting worse and worse and worse. And we need change desperately.
No question about it. What are some of the things? We've heard all that they've been complaining about today. Legitimate complaints, real complaints. I'm concerned about these complaints. I'm hoping that everybody is going to listen back to the show this evening and hear these complaints again, because we've got to do better than this. You cannot be saying that maybe they just don't want these family houses to be developed. It's got to be where we are so prideful and so caring about our people that we want to see them developed. They are able to do things for themselves. Not only grow their food, but make sure that they have the proper infrastructure. All these things must be done. We have a government who can do this thing, you know. We've got people in this country who can do it. But the point is, do they really care? The answer is they do not really care. Because if they really cared for 51 plus years, they would have been showing some signs of them caring so much that the people would be straight, at least a little bit straight by this time. 50 plus years later, we can't even say nothing.
Wow.
This is bad, man. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. All of you who have been serving as members of parliament and ministers of the government, you take that shame and just deal with it, because you're going to give an account to God. You have not done anything for these people. You've not. Oh boy, you know, I don't know what's going to happen at this, but I'm not going to give up hope now. I believe, being optimistic, I believe that we can get this thing great. It's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than we think. If the Lord in heaven has to go and move some people out of the way, that's what's going to have to happen, you know. Because his people can't be suffering like this. He cares about this. Cares about our people. You have to understand that. You politicians who are just playing a game on these people all day long. Watch it, man. Watch it, man. Watch yourself. You cannot be flying up and down around the place doing what you feel like doing. Not for as long as you feel like doing it. Because there's a mighty man above in heaven who looks out for his people. And you have been treating these people bad. Imagine that. No water. Leaky water. Road, rats infested in water and frogs. Come on, man. And people have heard this today all around the world. Because we're live. We're all around the world. They've heard it. They've heard it in Japan. They've heard it in Colombia. They've heard it in Yugoslavia. They're hearing it. And they tune in. They tune in for this show on hard copy, you know, because they want to know what's happening. And the students have heard it. All those students away, they've heard these things. You know? So some politicians, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You got to be ashamed of yourself, man.
We have the money to do what needs to be done, Steve, but they are mismanaging the money and only doing what they can make money from, or their financial backers can make money from. For example, this $160 million they found all of a sudden. Before that, every time we need something, they broke. But $160 million they found all of a sudden, and It went from 100 to 160. Can you take that 60 and put, you could have put mini hospitals, not clinics, all over the Family Islands. Someone in Eleuthera did a hospital. They spent just over $1 million, and they have an actual hospital with emergency room, with hospital beds for persons who need to be overnight, a surgery room. It's a hospital. We don't need major hospitals on every Family Island. You can put hospitals on every Family Island and have proper doctors there so they can get the aid that they need. So
It's
that
about planning and organizing yourself.
they're wasting the money on nonsense. And as long as you have politicians in the business of air ambulance, politicians in the business of air ambulance,
That's wrong.
then they're going to make sure that you have to come to Nassau. You see? And so they find money for what they want to. I saw a social media post today, no, a Tribune post from Cliff Bunsen saying that they didn't air the Olympics this year because they didn't have the money for it. $800,000. So Steve, if you do the math, they could have charged, and ZNS charges exorbitant rates. All right, for ZNS News, this is a high end opportunity. Once every 4 years, they could have charged $800 a person, or even a 30-second ad, or even $1,000 a 30-second ad, and they could have had title sponsors, $100,000, BTC or live.
When I saw it.
BTC or live, you pay $100,000 or $150,000. It's 17 days or $170,000, 10 grand a day, and you will be the title sponsor. You get another company to share it. They could be a secondary sponsor, and then you only have to find probably about $500,000 or $600,000 to cover the rest of it.
I guess.
And you can sell ads,
yeah.
Steve. If you sell the ads for $800 to $1,000 for the spot,
I see what you're saying.
then you only need 2 ads per. You don't need 2 ads to break even. 2 ads per day to break even.
Well, obviously,
Sorry, per hour. You need 2 ads per hour to break even.
Obviously, they don't have the sufficient people, I suppose, and perhaps in their marketing and sales department to, in fact, see how they can break even and make things work for the Bahamian people, because they have a duty. They have a duty to do as far as this place is concerned. Your duty is to make sure everyone is being serviced, and as a result of that, you have to make sure that the people are getting the proper service. Sports is a part of our service, and if they can't do it, they just cop out and say, well, we couldn't do it. It costs $800,000 to do it, and we couldn't afford it. So he just simply said that he couldn't afford it. Now he's the general manager, so he don't have the money, but they have the money, or they have the people who can actually get the money for them, and they should have made a very, very decent effort to make sure those gates are going to be covered. But I suppose they didn't think that was that important.
Steve, I have in my hand the papers. I don't know when this was for, today or yesterday, whatever. It is July 30th.
Mhm.
The paper is saying that the government is eyeing minimum wage. Anytime they want to distract you from the conversation,
Yeah.
they start talking about either marijuana legalization or minimum wage to distract you. The only reason to raise minimum wage would be for them to get more in NIB.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, it's to get more NIB, and them raising minimum wage will not help us. We need to stop talking about minimum wage. Minimum wage should not be for Bahamians. It should be for the foreigners who come here to work for us. It's time for us to benefit from our natural resources that we have in this country, and let's end that conversation about minimum wage.
Anyway, when we get a chance to bring you back, there's so many things to talk about. We got to build this country, and I'm happy to see that you're motivated, and everybody else is motivated, and they're surrounding you, and they're calling on you, and that's a good thing. These things must happen because somebody cares. And of course, we know who that person is. I want to thank all the people in Eleuthera today, all around, who have called into the show and said what they have to say, because that's how you're going to get business done. If you don't say nothing, they're not going to do anything. So you said it today, and you're going to say it tomorrow, and you'll say it the next day, and whatever you're going to say, you're going to say, because you need to get your thing done. You got to have water to drink. Water, we got to have water to drink. That's what the song said in Irish, and that's the truth. And so, I don't know what we're going to really do. Lincoln, I want to thank you very much for coming to the show today.
Thank you for having me, man.
And
Appreciate
course,
it.
Yeah, no problems at all. And I believe what Ronnie Butler's been saying all along, you know. He keeps asking the question every day. He says, man, what we gonna do? That's a loaded question. Wrote the song just before he gone home to God, you know. He says, what we gonna do? Just listen to it as we end Hard Cop Day and come back tomorrow for another big show right here tomorrow on the radio at 5 o'clock. Until we do well, take good care, be safe, and be careful. All right? Ronnie Butler, what we gonna do?